Okay, so this lesson we're going to extend the lesson from yesterday. Yesterday we started multiplying polynomials, so we're going to do the same thing today, except yesterday we just did binomial times a binomial, and today we're going to talk about trinomials as well. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the type of problem you have and what you do when you have two variables within the same problem. So um, what you guys should do is turn to page 46 in your book. It should be blank. Okay, and go ahead and write this problem down. X to the third plus 2x squared minus 3 times 2x plus 5. Okay, so yesterday we just went through and we distributed the first binomial times the trinomial. And so now we're going to do the exact same idea, but we're just going to have to do it one more time. So if you look, it says how many times are we distributing? Well, we're going to distribute 3 times because we have 3 terms in our first set of parentheses. And then is there only one way to find the product? We're going to talk about that as well. So I'm going to start with my x to the third, and I'm going to distribute it to the 2x. So that's x to the third times 2x. And then I'm going to distribute it to the 5. So plus x to the third times 5. And then I'm going to move, and I'm going to do the 2x squared. So 2x squared times 2x. And then I'm going to multiply my 2x squared times my 5. And then lastly, I'll do my negative 3. You guys don't lose the negative, okay? It's the easiest mistake to make. So plus negative 3 times 2x, and then negative 3. So plus, I'm going to go down here, negative 3 times 5. Okay, so that's what you're thinking as you're going through. You may or may not write this step down. But now this is what you should be doing as you're multiplying through. So now when we multiply each together, we end up with 2x to the fourth. We only have, remember this coefficient is a 1, so 1 times 2, and then you add your exponents. Plus x to the third times 5 is 5x to the third. Plus 2 times 2 is 4, and then we have x to the third when you add your exponents. Plus 2 times 5 is 10x squared. And then this is negative 3 times 2, so minus 6x, and then negative 3 times 5 is a negative 15. Okay, so now we just need to combine like terms. The 2x to the fourth is its only x to the fourth. We have 5x to the third and 4x to the third, so those will go together. And then that is our only set of like terms there because the x squared is a singleton, the negative 6x is a singleton, and the 15, the constant, is a singleton. So we end up with 2x to the fourth. Combine your x to the thirds, and you get plus 9x to the third, plus 10x squared, minus 6x, minus 15. It's in standard form, descending order of your exponents, so you're good. Now, the other question that we had up here was, is there only one way to find the product? Well, here we had to distribute 3 times. You technically didn't have to do that. Now remember, when you multiply like 8 times 7, you get 56. Well, if you multiply 7 times 8, you still get 56. Order doesn't matter. So you could have taken this original problem and rewritten it and just switched the parentheses. So written 2x plus 5 first, and then x to the third plus 2x squared minus 3. It's the same problem, just a different order. And then you could have distributed your 2x 3 times and your 5 3 times. So you're still getting the same amount, but some people like that better rather than distributing 3 times. Here you're only distributing technically 2 different terms. Okay, so either or, you'll get the same answer. Okay, so now we're going to turn to page 44. Okay, the only difference here is now we have some negatives on example number 2 on page 44 and higher level exponents. Okay, if you want, pause the video right now and practice this problem, work through it if you want to challenge yourself, and then check the answer when you're done by just obviously hitting play and watching how I do it. So I'm going to start with x to the third, and I'm going to distribute it twice. So I have x to the third times negative, sorry, just make that not happen, negative x squared, and then plus x to the third times 11. And then I'm going to go back and do my 9x, so 9x times negative x squared, and then 9x times 11. Okay, so when we clean that up, remember this was an x squared. Sorry, my pen didn't work so great there. You get negative x to the fifth. When you multiply, you add your exponents, plus 11x to the third. And then we get a negative here, so this will be negative 9x to the third. And then this is a positive, sorry, that's a multiplication. So plus 99x, sorry, that got a little sloppy there. So when we combine like terms, we just have these x to the thirds to combine together. So we end up with negative x to the fifth. 11 minus 9 is a positive 2x to the third, and then plus 99x. And this is your final answer. Okay. All right, we're going to move on and do example number 3 on page 44. Same thing. Try and challenge yourself. Pause the video and then see if you can work it out, and then play it and see how you did. I'm going to start with my 3x, and I'm going to distribute this 3 times. So I get 3x times x squared plus 3x times 6x plus 3x times 10. Again, you don't need to write this step down, but if it helps you, then obviously do it. But this is what you should be thinking. When you go back and do the 4, you get plus 4 times x squared plus 4 times 6x plus 4 times 10. Okay, so we'll clean all that up. 3x times x squared is 3x to the third. Plus 3 times 6 is 18. X times x is x squared. Plus 30x. And then moving into the second set, plus 4x squared. Hold on. Let's try that again. Squared. Plus 24x plus 40. So when we combine like terms, we only have one third term. X to the third stays by itself. We have an x squared here and an x squared here, and then an x, and then 40 is the only constant. So when we combine like terms here, we should get 3x to the third plus 22x squared plus 54x plus 40. Okay. That's your final answer. So this has been pretty much a review of yesterday, except obviously we have a trinomial in some cases. If you go ahead and look at example number 4 on page 44, now this is a little different, but the process stays the same. The only thing you want to pay attention to is the fact that now instead of just x's, we have x's and y's. So we just want to pay attention to that, especially when we go to combine like terms. We have a trinomial times a trinomial, so we start with the x, and we're going to distribute that to each term. So we get x, let's try that again, okay, x times x squared plus x times 4y plus x times negative 5. Don't lose your negative. Then we're going to move on to the y and distribute that. So plus y times x squared plus y times 4y plus y times negative 5. Sorry, that's a times negative 5. And then last but not least, we'll do the 1. I'm just going to have to come down onto my next row and distribute that everywhere. So plus 1 times x squared plus 1 times 4y plus 1 times negative 5. So when we go to clean this all up, we'll have 9 total terms before we combine like terms. X times x squared is x to the third plus x times 4y. Coefficients go first. So you have 4 And then you have two variables, so it's 4xy, or 4yx is obviously the same thing. Plus x times negative 5 is going to be a minus 5x. Plus yx squared. Just multiply them together. There's not much more you can do. Plus 4, and then here we have y and y, so y squared. And then y times negative 5 is a negative 5y. And then coming down to the blue, we have plus x squared. 1 times 4y is a positive 4y. And 1 times negative 5 is a negative 5. All right, so when we go to combine like terms here, I just start from the beginning. Do I have anything that's an x to the third? That's the only x to the third that I have here. So then I say, okay, do I have anything that's an x times a y? So I have an x times a y here. This is just an x. This is an x and y, but it's an x squared, so that's not a like term. This is a y squared, not a like term. This is a y. This is the xy is the only one. Okay, and then my x's, I have a 5x here. This is a y in it, so it's not a like term. This is a y squared. This is a y. That's my only x. Okay, and then I have a yx squared here. It's the only one I have. Okay, you're looking for exact matches. I have a y squared here. It's my only y squared. I have a y here. And then I do have a 4y over here. Okay. And then we'll have an x squared and a negative 5. Okay, so let's see. The only like terms that we should have, if I did this correctly, are the negative 5y and the 4y. So we have x to the third plus 4xy minus 5x. Whoops, hold on. There we go, minus 5x plus yx squared plus 4y squared. Sorry, my computer hates me. And then we'll combine those. So negative 5y plus 4y is a negative 1y, and then plus x squared minus 5. Now, when we're talking about standard form, I'm okay with just leaving it like this because you have two variables, so you can't really put it in descending order. So I'm just, when you have two variables, you can just leave it. Okay. All right, the last one we're going to do today is an extra practice problem again. So you're going to go back to page 46 and write this problem down. Okay. We want to remember that here this says write the area of the rectangle as a simplified expression. So area, remember, is length times width. Okay. So we have our two dimensions here, our length and our width. So here our area is going to be x squared plus 7 times x to the third plus 3x minus 1. So I'm going to put my binomial first so I have less distributing to do and start with my x squared. You guys might want to pause the video and do this on your own and then check back once you hit play and see if you get the right answer. So I'm going to distribute this 3 times, and I have x to the third times, I'm sorry, x squared times x to the third, let's just stay in the right order, plus x squared times 3x, plus x squared times negative 1, and then I'm going to move and do the 7, distribute that, so plus 7 times x to the third, plus 7 times 3x, plus 7 times negative 1. So, clean this up, we get x to the fifth, plus 3x to the third, minus x squared, and then moving to the green, we have plus 7x to the third, plus 21x, and then minus 7. So our like terms here are our thirds, right there. And I think that's it for combining like terms. So we have x to the fifth plus 10x to the third minus x squared plus 21x minus 7. And now it's in standard form. And then there aren't units on this, but usually if there were, we would have like units, whatever they are, squared because it's area. Okay. So your homework tonight is going to be page 47, number 1 through 10. Okay, and make sure to check your answers in the back of the book when you're done.